Achraf Hakimi. I think I pronounced that pretty terribly. But, anyways, he's the soccer player whose wife, a Spanish actress, is now filing for divorce. They have two children. He is 24, and they went to court. She was demanding half of his assets. And in court, it came out that, wait for it, 80% of his 15 million annual paycheck, if I'm not mistaken, that was the number. 80% of that and all of his assets and property are in his mother's name. So essentially, what that means is his wife will get nothing. Um, I find that to be extremely interesting. And in some of the comments, some of the chats that I'd seen on this, people were saying, one woman had commented that it's strange that he's still using his mother, leaning on his mother. And I thought, how's that strange when the Kardashians built an empire off of their mother being at the head of things? How is that strange when Procter and Gamble has had an entire campaign for years that I've personally boycotted against that said, "Thanks, moms." These are athletes in the Olympics that are the same age, if not older, than this young man, thanking mothers only, leaning on mothers, showing that uh, mother support is important. So why is it strange if a man is doing that, especially in protecting a very vast fortune at a young age? Now, I will say that part of the speculation for the divorce filings, they've been married since 2020, if I'm not mistaken, and two children, was part of the allegations was that he was accused of grape. Now, for those of you new to social media or YouTube channels, grape is, just take the G away and use that word. But we don't use that word because a lot of times it can flag and can be a hard thing for channels to have. So you say grape instead of rape. Um, so he was accused of that while his wife and children were on vacation. Apparently, he'd invited some girl over, and then the woman allegedly accused him of that action, which is another disturbing thing in itself. So there's some levels to this, but what are your thoughts on that? What is it smart of him to have put all of these things in his mother's name? He's a young man, so perhaps it was just one of those things where he knows that this money is going to provide for his family. Now, his children aren't going to go without, and even without his money, I'm guessing because the mother is a Spanish actress, she's doing well for herself as well. So these children aren't going to go without. I think that it's a bit of a smart move for a lot of people who may be accused of things. But what I do think may happen in the future is somebody or the laws, depending on what part of the world it is, will be able to say, well, you still earned this money, even though it's not in your name, you're still reaping the benefits of it. So you would just have to, pay, or they would just say, okay, you still owe X amount of millions of dollars, which would force you to go into the resources you put into somebody else's name. I could see that easily happening. Um, I want to say he's Moroccan, or he's not American, and that's the other thing. I couldn't see American, say, basketball or football players doing a lot of these things. I think just because we're a little more superficial in a lot of ways, and if you were to give money to family members and say, I need you to protect this, there's a chance it might be spent. And the reason I say that is because I've seen that happen before when it comes to um, certain players had employed family members to do certain things and they were still taken advantage of. So if you just gave them free money without it being a job, that would be problematic as well. But there's a lot of people who wouldn't do that. I think it just comes down to good is good and not good is not good. There's people of all walks everywhere. So what are your thoughts on this? um, Was he smart as a young man? Again, he's 24. I don't think this is a case of trying to um, stash away money, like offshore oil accounts or Swiss bank accounts and things like that. And it's kind of crazy that his wife wasn't aware of that. But then again, it just goes to show that these truly were his assets, in my estimation. So it sounds like the wife is going to get nothing in the meantime. I don't know if something will change as a result of it, but I could see this becoming a larger trend where maybe people aren't giving 80% of their checks, but they're putting a lot away. So it does protect them on the back end in case of divorce. And there's a good reason for that. There's a lot of people out there just looking to get things out of you, and if somebody decides to marry and stay long enough to have a couple of children, which would, certainly ensure that there would be payment and things like that. But I'm not saying that this is just this woman. I'm just saying there's possibilities, and this is a lot of reasons why men that come across this amount of wealth should be very careful. Anybody who comes across this amount of wealth should be very careful, whether you're looking to have children, whether you're looking to be married, anything, because you will have people coming out of the woodwork from now until your last day, looking to find a reason to sue you or accuse you of something to where you would settle out of court to protect your reputation or just not to have to go through long and stressful litigations. So again, what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear what your maybe you don't have experience on it, but what's your advice, comment, and experience, your ace up the sleeve. I hope this finds everybody in a place, pursuit, or beginnings of total health, mind, body, and soul. And we'll see you guys soon. Peace, love, unity, solidarity.